Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, it's a normal show today. It's been a while since we've had a normal show.
I know.
We had the Black Friday preview, the Black Friday wrap-up show, and then we had Mark Cohen on from Digital Diamond. So we've had a busy November, December, but now we can settle down in and kind of get back to the normal shows.
For a long winter's nap.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So it's episode 163 or the tiebreaker episode.
Yeah, we had 162 with Mark, and so that is the full season.
So are you submitting CJ's guitar work for a Grammy? I think he and Taylor Swift for Record of the Year, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I'll get something better than that. That's just something I had to throw up in a hurry, and I just haven't had the time to fix it.
It sounds fine.
Yeah, it does sound fine. I should probably put some of my guitar work on there instead of just synthesized guitar. Yeah, since CJ's just learning, so...
His chord progression is pretty good, though.
Yeah, his timing is good on the guitar. Yeah, he's a good rhythm guitar player.
And Mimi can't play the drums anymore.
No, Mimi's broken leg is not doing well. Yeah, we brought her in for the first return to the doctor follow-up, and so they took off the bandage, and it's just not healing. The wound is not healing. They don't know why. So she's on some medications, and they wrapped it up again. We got to go back next week. So hopefully some better news. But yeah, it's just been, unfortunately, the vets and the dogs have brought us down the last couple of months or so.
Yeah.
Just need to get 2 dogs healthy, and we can get on with life again. But
there you go.
It's just tough, and not supposed to put any weight on it. And what do? You got a dog. You can't keep a dog down. Dogs want to move around.
Especially a Chihuahua like that. Yeah, they're not very big to begin with. Anyway, so today we are talking about.
Yeah, we were kicking around what we want to talk about, and I says, what makes you want to play? What makes you want to, come home from work or get up early or call in sick maybe and play some games? What is it that makes us want to play these games? And we had a whole bunch of things that says, yeah, I think we can get a show out of this, and then we'll get your feedback as we always do about, what makes you want to play these games. That'll be our topic today. But anyways, ways to get a hold of us. Digitaltodice.com is the website. We can find links to all of our shows and merchandise and, a few other tidbits that we put on there from time to time. It's kind of just a home base there. 978-751-DICE is the text line. Digitaltodice@yahoo.com. That's where you can send us an email. And I still got a couple of emails there that I need to get to. But I just had a busy work week. I haven't got to them yet. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digital-to-dice. And we got a couple new Patreons this week. Thank you so much. If you'd like to support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/digital-to-dice. If you'd like to help us pay the bills over here, some of the Spreaker bills and some of the other bills that we have to get the show to you every week. So we thank you so much to everybody that helps do that. Well, it's been a while, but what have you been playing?
I quit playing games. No, I gave it up for Lent. Let's see. After we talked with Mark from Digital Diamond, I pulled out Roster Card again, and you'll be proud of me. I put in logos and pictures.
Oh, nice.
For a season, and I'm trying to get it so I can play a reasonable. I enjoy Roster Card a lot, and I'm hoping that to play. Not sure what the project's going to be yet, but I pulled out Trusty 78 because I played a lot of that over the years, and have played some of that. It's again, it really is the board game companion. I just give him so much credit for saying, "I played my game, I created my game. Bring your own game." I still
that companion. I mean, bringing in the pictures is about the easiest I've ever done. That file that's on our Facebook page, that link I dropped in 79. What I did is in the companion or in the game, I went into I edited something in the library, and it was I added a specific folder for pitches, and I put in 1979. So I have 3 seasons going in Digital Diamond. Whether I play Digital Diamond or the Helper, it's irregardless.
Right.
And so I created the 3 folders. I created a 74, a 79, and whatever else season I have, 80 or whatever it is. And so that way there I can put the individual photos into that folder. So in other words, if you just put it into the main folder, they're all going to get jumbled up in there. But the game will let you specify which folder to look in. So you put 79 and 79, 74 and 74, and it looks there for the pitches. It is so easy. That game is so easy doing everything, setting up the fields, the logos, the players' pitches. I've never had such an easy time setting it up.
It's just, it gives you 99% of what you want. And really an enjoyable experience. What else have I been playing that is
has that been helping you play it all? I mean, does it make anything faster? Does it make the project funner? I mean,
I will say this. I think we were talking about this the other day, and going back to playing a pure cards and dice game and recording the results and having it there, it doesn't quite feel like I'm playing baseball. And that's not necessarily a fault. That's no one's fault. It's not the game engine's fault. It's not Digital Diamond's fault. You're just trying to go through and roll the dice or flip the fast action card, get the result in there. And because you tend to fly when you have outs, when there's no one on base, you're just not really slowing down enough. And again, and some of that's me just trying to figure out how I want to do this to make it a smooth process.
I ran into that same thing the other day when I was playing. I don't know if it was Pocket Pen and Run or Payoff Pitch or Season Ticket, whatever. What I'm playing 3 games. I don't know. And I did the same thing. It's like, okay, F8. Okay, G3. And I was doing the same thing. I was like, I'm missing out on the gaming here because I'm so in a hurry to type in the code to get the out. And so then last night I played offline and I started to really kind of enjoy the play first and then take my time putting in. So I wasn't flying through this game. It took me an hour to play last night. So I was like, okay, here's a hit into left field, and that's an out. So I was like, so I look, it's a hit into the left field, and, Parker's back, and he makes the catch at the wall. Then I go F7. But when I was doing that first, I really was not getting the full enjoyment.
I mean, I tend to speed through playing solo until there's a runner on base anyway, just because whatever project I'm going to do is going to be substantial and you want to move through it. And again, it's all about it's not the destination, it's the journey for baseball. But I still find that for me, the Action PC is best because you got to wait to watch the result. There is an advantage of recording your results. You do have to think about what you're seeing and what's going on, but it's not necessarily pitcher A to batter B. The result is right. X. It could be Pete Rose. It could be Reggie Jackson. It could be you. And again, it depends on. But I don't necessarily play these games for nostalgia. I play the games because I might like the era, whether it's 40s or 50s or whatever, and so the names I'm familiar with. But again, it's much more about. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out and get the right pace for it. And then you start to think about what you want to do in the future and blah, 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 blah. So I've done some of that. I pulled out Strat Hockey again, played the Islanders and the North Stars. Ooh. And had from 75, 76. And I had 14 power play chances combined. Oh. Had 1 power play goal combined.
Wow.
And 2 shorthandeds on 5 chances.
Wow.
If you were to show someone Strat Hockey, that would not have been the game to show the strengths of it because, who's out there now? Okay, so I've gotten to the point where I know you do the random line changes, and I like that. I really do. Because I play on the PC, know based on what action card I'm at, what line I want out there. So I roll. So for instance, my first line is always the first line out there and then closes the period. So they get the first 5 cards and the last 5 cards. And line 2, second, and penultimate. Third gets 2 shifts and the fourth gets cards 15 to 20.
Yep.
And so it just makes it easier that way. And I do the same with defense. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. And those are 7 cards. And it just know in my head that if I'm half paying attention or if someone's trying to talk to me or whatever, I know where I am with the game. And everyone remotely gets the right amount of ice time. But when you have a game where you have 14 power plays, I think Jude Duran had 25 minutes of ice time for as a number 2 center for the Islanders. Okay, it's better than having Trotz and Potvin get their half hours, but yeah, that was not the advertisement for Strat hockey. Was to have a game that was just kind of the goalie for Minnesota. It wasn't it's not Milosh. It's someone else, and he's now 125-3.
Was it Fred something?
Lepresti.
Pete Lepresti.
Pete Lepresti. I knew I'd. Yeah, Pete Lepresti, 125-3. At some point, he beat the Capitals for his one win. It's the second time the Islanders had stomped him, and in fact, they really didn't stop him until the third period. So that was fun. Some Stone Cold. Delighted to see, by the way, that there is a future version of Daishinev for soccer.
Oh, right. Right.
And I knew. We talked about this, and we might have even mentioned this on the air, that there was going to be, I'm sure, a revision of Daishinev because of Stone Cold Hockey, because Stone Cold Hockey was kind of a hockey version of Daishinev, and we all worked enough with Stone Cold to make that a better game, that I knew that there'd be a second version of Daishinev coming out. And Legends of Boxing is those new sets sometime in the middle of 2023.
I was just trying to give some happy bell. That's the only bell I have.
I like that one. So Stone Cold, the Adams thing, you're Bruins. You never show up for my hockey streams, by the way. I don't understand why.
You do while I'm working, because I'm always working when you're doing them.
The Bruins, I forgot how good the 90-91 Bruins were. Now, it's a 5-team project. I'm not playing everyone else. So it's the Bruins, the Whalers, the Canadians, the Nordiques, who were terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And the Sabres. And so the Bruins, I believe, they've played 5 times, and they've gotten 8 out of a possible 10 points.
Well, they were cup teams back then. They get to the cup a couple times.
Because the computer rolls for the random goalie. I mean, Reggie Lemelin was not that great in 91, but he leads by replay or season in goals against average. I think he's given up 4 goals in 2 games.
You can manually change that,
You could, but I think I did once, so I didn't want Waugh to play every game for Montreal. The last time I think it was Red Light Rassico. But again, I enjoyed doing that. Darren Poopa, the Poopa Scoopa, he was the worst goalie. I think he had a .593 goals against average. And whoever Buffalo played last, that was Montreal. Either they shut him out or he gave up 1 goal. And so so even a bad goalie can become good. So I've enjoyed that. My pro golf life, I have played 2 stinker final rounds the last 2 tournaments. 2 just absolutely craptastic rounds of golf. I was in contention at Hilton Head to win until I shot a 75 on the final day. And so this week we played at Arnold Palmer's. I'm going to go give Arnie a nice nasty plunge as we play the Iced Tea Open. Arnold can bring the lemonade. The rest of us are drinking iced tea. And I had a good first 3 rounds, but it's the first course that I've played of the 7 that have had lots of water. And my golf balls found a lot of water. Yeah, I dunked a few. Michael Jordan would be proud of the amount of dunks I had. And so I went the wrong way again on Sunday, shot a 4 over 74 or 3 over 74 and went from T44 to T69 or something like that.
Oh.
Just in time for my first major of the year next week. The Players.
Well, when you do this again, you'll have to just bump up your ratings just a little bit,
I have the 5th best card of the 100 of all of them.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like I have a bad card, but, as Bobby Jones once said, the toughest golf course is the one between your ears. And, And it's, if you start to doubt, after about 9 holes yesterday, it just kind of turned into a chat while I played because, nope. So let's see, what else have I been? Oh, gems. I'm up to almost level 1100 in that.
Oh, jeepers, yeah, you're going nuts on that. I haven't played that in 2 years.
It's just a game you can play in 15.
I saw
if you
that
got-
I got a notification that if they got the Christmas download, so you can play as Grinches and elves and.
Yeah, I think that starts Monday.
Okay.
But there's just so much to do. And again, it's just a match 3. And it's a game that literally has almost endless options. And it's a good time kill. I almost have 1,000 hours into it.
Oh, nice.
Whenever, from what, 2 years ago?
2 or 3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a relaxing match 3 game. Let's just call it what it is. It's fun.
Yeah. And EVE Online, which at some point I'll do a video on, but I can't show you any gameplay because I'm not giving away my secrets.
Ah.
But I've really enjoyed that. And so, yeah. And so I've played a lot, but and the wife is sick, so we did some real strange streaming times this week too. But looking forward to Christmas week, showing off the new Extra PC baseball, hopefully Monday. And my first major of the year, going to Sawgrass for Christmas week.
Very nice. Well, at least you're getting some gaming. I got some gaming in too. But as the hockey guy, I've done all baseball in the last week or so.
Gosh, and I've done 2 hockey streams in the last week.
Right? It's funny. I knew I would get the baseball bug because I get the basketball bug, and I know I get the baseball bug, and hockey's a constant on the channel, so I like to mix it up, and I just like try different things, and that's one of the things we'll talk about today in what makes you play. So I actually got some Spiders baseball in, so I'm inching closer to finishing up the Spiders season in Strat baseball, and then after that I have another project lined up for Strat baseball, but I am going to try to get the Spiders done and see if I can get their 20 wins or not. And again,
How close are you?
I'd have to look. I know I'm up over 10. I might be around a dozen or so. Dozen wins, something like that. But again, I play against the Spiders, and then I sim the rest of the season. So I did get a Spider win on one of the live streams. I know I got a Spider win on there one time, but
I was trying to explain that to someone who doesn't stream or play these games. The whole thing with the Spiders. And we got talking about the fact that, they all got cirrhosis at the end of that season. And It's not a joke. I mean, when you played as bad as they did, and all day, at least at night, you go have a couple drinks and crash. But all day, and then you got nothing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, you hit the pub at night and catch the train or whatever it was. But so I did. I got Spiders baseball back on the channel, and then I've been kind of playing the unholy trinity of baseball games.
The unholy trinity.
Pocket Pennant Run, Season Ticket, and Payoff Pitch.
You love Season Ticket.
I do.
You got to have Clay back on the show sometime.
Yeah, I've already contacted him. We're going to get him back and talk about Season Ticket there. That game, it just, we talk about games that just check all your boxes, and this game checks all my boxes, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. But I did pull out some Payoff Pitch. I played a couple games offline. I did stream one. Same with Pocket Pennant, and I'm using the Digital Diamond companion for all this. I'm playing 1979, and it's really fun to pull out a different game. And roll dice and flip fast action cards, and I'm playing the same season.
Now, we should clarify that is not 2 different programs. The game is a board game companion. You can choose to use the Digital Diamond game engine, or choose to bring your own game input, but they're not.
It's kind of like Stratomatic PC, is that if you want to, you can enter the results manually.
It's always fun to watch someone play APA and enter it in Strat.
Yeah, but you could. I mean, and Strat, you can do that, Strat. And even I used to use PC Replay Baseball. As long as I had the season, it would allow you to enter whatever you wanted to do. And so you basically override the house game and just type in the results that you want. So in effect, you could put in a home run every time if you wanted to, but the idea is to play another game and just input the things manually. And this just does a fantastic job with it, and the customization is great in the companion. So I've been playing those 3 games in 1979. I had a really fun top of the 9th inning with the Reds and the Pirates.
Yeah.
That I had bases loaded, nobody out. I had a play at the plate that I rolled on. That was like so much fun. That play at the plate. I don't know what it is about this game, but it just checks all the boxes of fun for me. And then I got a bloop single, and then I got an out, and with 2 outs, Champ Summers hit a grand slam. And so the Reds put up 6 in the top of the ninth to win the game. But it's just fun because I have really no winners and losers in this 1979 season. I think it's funny that Baltimore is really choking. They're under 500. They're just. I think they went to the finals that year, and they're not playing very well in my replay. And that's what's enjoyable about it. Enjoyable is you're seeing what teams are doing well and what teams are not doing well in your replay. And I'm playing all the different teams. I think I'll end up playing all of them at some point. I think I got most of them printed out. And what's fun about Season Ticket is I just print out the sheets. I don't cut them all up. I cut the pitches. The pitchers I cut in thirds. So I have 2 pitchers per sheet, so I can stick them next to the other team's pitcher. So you can picture I have, a third of a sheet next to a third of a sheet, so I can stick them up on my clipboard and look at them both. But all the batters and the fielders, I don't separate them. And so I only have 3 sheets to look through. So if I'm looking for anybody, I'm not thumbing through cards. I'm just kind of going through sheets. Although when I played Payoff Pitch the other day, thumbing through the cards was not that big of a deal anymore. It used to be. I used to not like looking up arms and run speed and the whole, but that used to be really a pain to me. But now that I'm getting into baseball games and getting a little deeper into the advanced mode, thumbing through the cards, I'm getting pretty quick at it now, and it's been very fun. So that's kind of what I've done. A lot of baseball, trying out some different things.
You know what you might want to do?
I think I did try Dice United. I bought the Cards and Dice version.
Right.
And I did play one game, and maybe I already talked about this on the show, but I don't know enough about soccer, and I thought I did. And then when I played that game, there were a lot of things happening that were very foreign to me. And it's the same thing that happens when I play a basketball game, because I play a basketball game and I have no idea when a guy is open or not. I don't know when to double team. I don't know when to press. I just don't know the game well enough like I do, hockey. So Dice United, I had fun. I think I had a 2-0 game between, I think I played like Kansas City and New England. I picked up an MLS season, one of the MLS seasons that they had during the Black Friday sale. And it was enjoyable. It was very similar to the hockey game, but at the same time, it was very different, especially with the timing. And so that's something I need to get used to. So I can see if you were a soccer fan, this would be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the PC version.
Yeah, I think maybe that'll help me out learn the game a little bit more, because again, I was really lost on a lot of things. I
have classic soccer, which is a very good game. But again, it's I think for for how good Stone Cold is for casual hockey fans, I think Dice United is going to be for that. Getting back to the baseball card thing, you might want to pick up a box of baseball card sheets, those clear 9 loaded.
Oh yeah, cards. Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
And so what you would do is load them up that way, and everything is there, and you just flip it over, because you can put card in the card. So your batting order for Team A, you have on one side, you flip it over for Team B, and that would also help you just flip over for ratings and such.
Yeah, I find that I just have the stack of cards in front of me, and the batter's on the top. And so if I get a hit and I need to check the shortstop, I just grab the other stack and fan them out like I'm playing cards, like poker cards or something, and I can find the shortstop, find the rating, and just put the stack right back. So I'm getting pretty quick at that. Whereas I don't know, before I was very cumbersome how I did it, but now I'm getting quicker at it, and I'm enjoying that more, because before I felt like that was a slog. Like, I got to pick up the cards, find the shortstop, get his rating, and then go find the runner on second base. And I found that to be a pain in the neck. But now that I'm playing these baseball games and I'm really getting into it, and I'm finding that's the fun part of the game. Is, I was playing Season Ticket, and the guy had to go from first to third, and there was a play at third base. And so I looked at the right fielder arm, the player speed, I rolled the dice, so it was a game in the game. And that's what makes that game fun for me, is those little interactions, stealing bases and challenging arms and plays like that. It's and don't get me wrong, there's sometimes, like with APA and Pocket Pennant Run, I like having that already decided for me. Sometimes it's like, here's how many bases you get, That's it. Don't think about it. But there's other times that it's like, this interaction, rolling dice again to see if the guy's safe and challenging the arm is kind of fun. So I like having the option of the different games to play different ways. Mm-hmm. So at first that was a pain, but now I'm kind of enjoying, at times, not all the time, but at times I really enjoy that interaction. And I think I played some up-tempo basketball because I picked that up on the Black Friday sale, and I have the online helper I bought too. Was that Curtis?
Kurt Lava.
Yeah, that has the he does a lot of the online their web browser based helpers, yes, they're called. And so he had a sale on that, so I picked up 2 seasons of up-tempo basketball, and I let him know, and I bought his helper, and I played. And I think that's one of the better helpers. Not that he has a bad helper, but this particular helper for the basketball for up-tempo, it really because when you're playing baseball, you got all these things that can happen, steals mm-hmm. and ground and errors. This is basically a possession by possession type of game, and you look to see what happens on the possession. And is it a turnover? Is it an automatic basket? Are you or are you taking foul shots and free throws and 3-pointers? And then you look at the ratings of the player, but it's all right there on the screen, so you can look at it, see what happened on the play, log in your points, and then change possession. So it really does a very good job of mimicking the cards and dice version of up-tempo basketball. And that's what I really like about that. Again, because I'm a casual basketball guy, and that's the perfect basketball game for me right now. So that's kind of what I've been playing a little. I've really tried to play a lot of the things that I got on Black Friday, and I still haven't yet, but I did play a lot of them.
There you go.
I still got the play tennis game and time travel baseball to get to. But it's tough to pull yourself away from some of the other games I'm playing. You
really just enjoy, we did a lot with Digital Diamond, and you really just enjoy that season ticket baseball.
Yeah, it does. So why don't we get into the topic of the day, like what makes us play these games?
Okay.
So yeah, we've kind of talked about this subject before, like why we play the games and the whole bit. But I was just the other day, I couldn't wait to come home and play season ticket baseball. And I think I was at the rink, and I didn't get home till after 11 o'clock, and I was cold, and you come in and I take off the jacket and like, okay, now nice warm house, here I go, and I knew it was late, but something, I'm gonna play, and I come downstairs here and I fired up Digital Diamond, and I got my 79 season, and I pulled out a couple of teams, and I just played. I don't remember if I streamed it or not, but I played, and I couldn't wait to come home and play this game. So I was like, let's talk about what makes us want to play. And so I guess some of the first thing is I think the honeymoon phase, and we've talked about honeymoon phases before. Mm-hmm. I think I'm in the honeymoon phase with season ticket, because it's one of these games where I immediately took to this game, and I don't know why, but I immediately took to this game. And then when Digital Diamond came along, and that just cuts the setup time to 0, right. Because if you're playing an as played, because Digital Diamond does all the work. You got your lineups. Everything's done. The batting order's done. All you do is click play the game, and then you pull out your cards and play. And that's all you do. You don't got to go and print out a roster. You don't got to print out a lineup. You don't got to, set the batting order. You don't have to get on the sheet and write in all the values of everybody. You just look at the screen and then look at the cards or the charts or whatever. And so I think I'm in the honeymoon phase of this game because I just want to come home and just play this game. So I think new game, maybe call it new game syndrome, is one of the reasons what makes me want to play a game.
The shiny new car smell.
Yeah, the shiny new car smell. It's like you get a new car, you just want to drive around, just go up the street and back because it's so comfortable and everything's new. So I think that's one of the reasons that makes me want to play a game is when I got a new game that I'm playing. It's all shiny and new, and you're enjoying it. And I still haven't got it all down yet. And something, sometimes that frustrates me is when I make mistakes in a game and I can't figure it out. But every time I make a mistake in this game, I go into the rule book and I find out what I did wrong. And that's all I ask, is that if I did something wrong and I go back, it's like, oh, then as long as the rules explain it to me, as long as I'm not second guessing the rule book, I have never second guessed anything in this rule book and season ticket. It's all been, I got it, I get it, and here's what I did wrong, and next time I will correct that.
Clay's done a tremendous job with that game.
So I think for me, yes. So I think it's the honeymoon phase that you got a new game that you're really enjoying, and so that makes me want to play a new game.
I think a lot of it is, for some people, is the meatloaf factor. You've had a bad day at work. You've had a bad day, whatever, or, in your case, another visit to the vet or whatever. And you're just looking for, the comfortable pair of shoes, the cold beer or whatever. And I'm just going to go, this game just feels really comfortable for me. This is what I want to play. This is a project that I may or may not be working on at the given time. I just want to take 20 minutes to go and do something that I feel completely comfortable with before dealing with the next step. And I guess some of that also would lead to nostalgia. Okay.
Yeah. Hold off on that thing that you brought up, because that's very important. What you said is, you come down to your table and all of a sudden, like, this wall comes around you.
Yes.
And you are in your little space here playing your game, and for 15, 20 minutes, half hour, whatever you can get out of it, you're not worried about the dog. You're not worried about the kids. I mean, obviously, if there's an emergency, but that's different. But I mean,
right.
for a short amount of time.
Well, it's that Calgon, you've taken me away.
Exactly. You're in the bathtub, and it's just like, don't bother mommy for 20 minutes. I'm taking a hot bath. And that's what it is. And you're in there playing your game, whatever it is, and you are just enjoying it, and it's like you look forward to that. You really do. And that's your place to go when it's like you've had a bad day. And that was on my list too. It's like I've been so busy, or I haven't been feeling good, or I get bad news at the vet, or it's raining out, so I come home today and I'm putting stuff away in the rain and I'm soaked. It's like I want to play this game so bad right now because I need to do something fun for me.
When I had COVID, I played strat hockey every day. I had COVID because it was one of the things you have to worry about with COVID is brain fog.
Yeah.
Making sure that you can still think. So it was enough of a thought process, enough of a meatloaf for whatever your go-to comfy food, your mac and cheese or whatever, a combination of using your head, being comfortable with it, and knowing that the game was going to play, whether you are, directing to the point where it was just, okay, for the next 45 minutes, I know I'm sick. I know I'm not going to get better the next 45 minutes. Let's just get your mind off of that. Again, the Calgon bathtub, the meatloaf, the mac and cheese, whatever it is. And I plowed through 5 or 6 of those games in that season-long replay.
And that's important for your physical and mental health is to do this stuff here. Because you could just sit back and throw on Netflix and space out, or you can come down here and be involved in something and think and be a part. You're a part of this final score. You're rolling the dice. You're making decisions. And so you're contributing to this fictional game that's been played in the past. So, but you're getting your results in this game, and that's such a fun place to be. That's a place you want to be and enjoy that meatloaf right there. Whether you're not feeling good or whether you are feeling good or whether you're in a bad mood. That's a key is coming and doing something positive, and it's like you're not going down to the bar and swinging down beers or anything like that. You're in your own house and you're playing something that's very safe and very fun, and that's a big thing right there. Is to play these games to escape what's going on out there.
That, and again, get your head screwed on the right way. I mean, let's face it. We all suffer through depression of some sort or another, just for real life. We don't need to go into the whys. I think we all know the whys. But yeah, okay. And so for the next, again, mommy's taking her a hot bath. For the next 20 minutes, we're going to do things my way, and no one can kind of stop me from doing that. And I think that's the primary. Come home from work and do that. If the people who were coming to help me in the morning were late a couple of years ago, I could get in a game of, again, action PC hockey with the Islanders. They can take about 40 minutes. I knew I had that length of time. Just get it done and get the brain moving and make the decisions and
but
all that.
It's such a feel-good thing, though. Like, you come out, I mean, most of the time. Sometimes you play a game that's kind of a dog. It happens. But most of the time, you get done the game and you're like, oh, wow, that was so fun that this happened or that happened, or, this guy hit a grand slam. Butch Hobson hit 3 home runs in one game for me. It's like,
well, you had the 2 games that Freddie Lynn had the walk-offs for.
Yeah, I played the PC Replay Baseball. I was streaming that, and Freddie Lynn rolled 6-6-6 in the 9th inning, and that was a home run to win the game. And it's stuff like that makes it really fun. So you come away from that, and you're in, like I say, you come out of the bathtub with a Calgon bath, and you just feel so good, for a second that you've immersed yourself in something very good and enjoyable most of the time. You can, like I say, you can have a bad game and get frustrated and chuck dice around, I guess.
74 on the stream last night, Gardner.
But for the most part, like I say, because it's fun, and I did the same with shootout when I was heavy into shootout hockey when I first started playing that, and it's still a great game. But since then I played probably 100 other games,
right?
Baseball.
But again,
at the time, shootout was my baby, and I would just go to that. That was my safe place for hockey, and I would just come out of that with smiles on my faces and go to bed. And you think about the game you just played. It's like, oh, that was so awesome. Come down, it was 2 goals down, and I scored 2 goals late to tie it, and one in overtime. That was a great game. Or like last night, what a 9th inning the Reds had, and you go to bed thinking about that. It just and you absorb it and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's a big one there.
It's a big one. I think for a lot of people, nostalgia. I know that's how you kind of came into this. You didn't realize that you could play Bobby Orr or Rick Middleton or Phil Esposito. I mean, you really weren't left analog, right 3.
Yep.
What was beyond what we can physically do at this point, but being able to play your heroes. I mean, there's a lot of it that just frustrated with the real world. Again, not necessarily the Calgon thing, but look, if you don't like the rule changes in a sport, play the era that you're there.
Exactly.
And if you don't like this, well, that's always there for you. And so to go back to the days when you didn't have many worries, there's a reason why a lot of people play these games. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you get to be commissioner, chief bottle washer, and whatever for whatever it is that you find nearest and dearest to you.
Yeah,
and,
the nostalgia factor is a big part of it. You go back to a time, I remember exactly where I was in 79 and 80, enjoying baseball, buying my baseball cards, watching it on TV, so I know a lot of the names of the people. Now, again, we didn't have internet and ESPN back then, so you only got what you got. But you found a way to learn people, whether it was Baseball Digest or This Week in Baseball, and it goes back to a simpler time, and we've talked about this many times. But yeah, the nostalgia is definitely part of it. To piggyback off the nostalgia, what I like is that you're creating your own version.
Yes.
Of nostalgia.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're going back, and I'm enjoying, and I don't say I'm enjoying watching the Orioles, stink up 79, but I'm enjoying looking at the results of my 79 season compared to real life. So I'm playing these games, and I'm letting the computer sim the rest, and I'm like, wow, look at the teams that were good in 79, they're middle of the pack. Look at the teams that were bad, and they're not as bad as they used to be. So it's fun watching your results play out, whether it's a season or you're playing a playoffs or a one-off. I mean, I like to go back and play crazy games sometimes to see how close I come to the final score. I played a game of shootout hockey one time, and when I was trying to figure out who was starting in net because the team played both goalies, and it didn't say who started and who came in. And in my game of shootout, the starting goalie got hurt, and I had to bring in the backup. So I played both at the same time. What are the chances of, I don't get very many injuries when I played shootout. That particular game, I got an injury, and both goalies played just like in real life.
That's cool. Yeah.
That was so cool to see that you get a result like that. And sometimes, not only do I like to see my results compared to real life, a lot of times, in some of the hockey replays I've done, I like to change the playoff format to 1-16. I've always liked the 1-16 hockey format, and they got rid of that a long time ago. But you could get some fantastic Stanley Cup matchups. You could get Bruins Montreal. You could get Boston New York, New York Montreal. You know, you can't get that nowadays. You get the best of the West against the best of the East, and it doesn't matter if the better matchup was two Western teams or two Eastern teams. I mean, how many years did we see, you know, it was Colorado and Detroit were just beating each other up in the West, and that was just such a great series.
And that was the de facto final.
Yeah, and then the Stanley Cup came, and it didn't compare to what happened in the Western Conference, and that's happened a few times in the East as well. So I like to go back and change my playoff format, you know, and I've done that a handful of times, and a lot of times I'll reduce it to make the replay go quicker. So instead of a 7-game series, I go 3-game series. I always loved the 3-game series back in the day. So you can go back, have your nostalgia, and make it your way. It's like Burger King.
That's right. I like the learning process of it. I did 49 as a project. I obviously wasn't alive in 49, and you know what? I didn't have a parent that was alive for the 49 season either. So it wasn't like that they were going, oh yeah, I remember the time. No, I mean, so it was, I want to learn. And once you know whatever the game engine is that you're most comfortable with, you can just kind of see things and go from there. And I don't want to say that nostalgia isn't important. Whatever season I do this year coming up, it's going to be out of the wheelhouse. So it's not going to be between 78 and 92. So even if it is a more modern season, well, I paid less and less attention to things as I got older because I got married and blah, 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 blah. So again, it turns into a learning project for me and go, oh, wow. Okay, I knew X, Y, and Z, but I didn't know the A, B, and C part of it.
It's like kicking back and putting on the History Channel. And you watch something like, I remember I watched the show on, I think it was like 1920s Russia. It was an hour-long show on the History Channel. And I was just home one night by myself, and I was like, here I am watching 1920s Russia. It's like, you couldn't sit me down in school for 20 minutes to talk about this when I was in high school. But as an adult sitting down, I found this fascinating. And it's the same way with these old seasons. Now, so you did your 49 season, right?
Right.
And I did the Spiders in 1899. I did it as a joke, but this has been a huge learning experience about A, what happened in 1899 in America, B, old-time baseball, and C, dead ball era. I didn't know what any of that was. And so it's gone from kind of being a joke, like just a funny project playing a bad team, to being a very educational project. We had the author, J.T. Hetrick, who wrote the book. He contacted me, because he saw my replay, and we connected with him. We had a great interview with him. We learned a lot about that. I mean, and who would have thought I picked the Spiders because they were bad, and look what that project became. That just became its own animal.
It took on its own life.
It's a life of its own, and that has been such a blast. And I'm always nudging people. Like I nudged Mark about, hey, get $18.99 on Digital Diamond. I nudge Joe Bryan at Payoff Pitch. We need $18.99. I'm always nudging people. We need $18.99 so I can play some Spiders. So I've really enjoyed. I don't know anybody on that team. I don't know anything about the era. But I've learned so much, and that's just brought so many months of enjoyment, that Spiders project. Yeah. And I'll probably never catch lightning in a bottle like that again with a past project. But that was just, it was so fun. So, yeah, the learning, who would have known that would turn into that for me? But
both of my offline strap projects, I was 4 for, the 75-76 hockey season. I would have no recollection of that whatsoever, except for the fact that if it came on, it got shut off because it was the Flyers. My mother didn't want me to watch all that fighting at that age.
Yep.
So I, really had no, I knew Mike Bossy, but Bossy wasn't there yet. And yeah, so it's all been that. I mean, we didn't have Sports Channel to watch the Celtics games in 85, 86. You got whatever the CBS game was 3 times a year in the playoffs. And so to watch them gel and play and, their names the Celtics I was familiar with, but as far as other obviously Dr. J and Jordan, not completely idiot with that, but as far as just the day in, day out, the average players of that, I don't know who they are. and it's been fun. It's been learning, and and the engine works, and so it's easy to see, and it's been a lot of fun. And yes, it's older, and there's some nostalgia there, but that's not the primary driver of it. It's not sitting there on the couch with your SpaghettiOs going beat LA,
But yeah, it's the nostalgia, and like I said, going back and playing a season that you either know nothing about or just very little about, or maybe you thought you knew something about, and you're like, holy cow, I didn't know about this, and so you kind of learn that. But that makes me want to play too, is to go back, play a season, learn the guys, learn the teams, and inevitably, depending on the project that you do, you'll probably do some online research, about that season.
Of course.
And you'll learn a lot about it. Like I went to YouTube, and when I was doing, I started a Strat 75 project that it's kind of died out, but I went to YouTube and I found like a recap of 1975. And I saw the whole baseball thing, so I knew who was good and who was bad, and and so I had an idea now going into that season what to expect, and so I started to learn about the 75 season, which I didn't know much about at the time. So
exactly, and so to learn, but again, I think for if you've had a rough day, or you got stuck in the line at the cable company for 2 hours, and because people couldn't get their cell phones fixed or whatever, it's like, how do I unwind? How do I do this? And again, I mean, people put puzzles together and take baths or pound down food, and that may not necessarily be the healthiest thing in the world for you. You've got something, we have something just like, our friend Ray. I can go run some trains for a while. Like I've got the Reds and the Pirates on the table, and
something to look forward to.
That's
the other thing. Yeah, you need to have something to look forward to, and just you're at work and maybe you're having a bad day or whatever's going on. Maybe the car's conked out on you, and you're like, I just need to get home and get on my tabletop. Give me something to look forward to. Get in that Calgon bath. But sometimes you need something to look forward to, and this is one of the things I really look forward to. When I don't play for a while and I get through my funks for whatever reason, I miss it. And it's just when I finally get back to it, I really hit it hard. I really just, it's like you haven't eaten in 3 days and you just gorge yourself on food, So I just play a ton of these games,
Yeah.
One of the other things that makes me want to play is when I'm learning a new game, I want to, I hate to say conquer that game, but I want to figure that game out. And I look back at, like Hockey Bones is probably the best example for me, where is I dodged that game for a long time. And when I finally sat down with it, I says, something, this is really not as bad as I thought. There's just a lot of things to remember. And so I would pick up the game and play it a little bit. And then it's okay. And then the next day it's like, okay, I want to get back and play more Hockey Bones because I was getting in the groove. I was understanding this game, but there's a few things I keep missing, and I want to go back and make sure I get those things. And so for me, it was I guess it was learning a new game, but it's just enjoying the game enough that you just want to, you know what I mean? You want to drag it over the finish line and say, okay, now I know how to play this game.
Yeah. Or, classic F1. You get halfway into figuring out how it works. Any sort of complex game where you're just trying to make sure. And again, it's putting the puzzle together. Like, okay, I think I figured this out. I can go on to the next stage and like, okay. Yes.
Yeah, and it does. And
yes, we figured it out.
There's, I guess it's almost like a challenge. I take it as a challenge sometimes to try to learn a game. And a game like Hockey Bones, where it's not difficult, but there's a lot of things to remember. And that's kind of the same with Season Ticket. There's a lot of things to remember. So you play, and a lot of times you're flicking through the instructions to see what do I do in this instance. And it's like, okay, maybe you just forget what you do because, again, you're trying to remember 15 different things, let's say, and you remember 12 of them. And so the other 3, you just got to get into the habit of, repetition is what it is. Get in the repetition of the game. So when these instances come up, you know what to do, or you know where to look in the instructions. Because some of these games I can't memorize everything. I just can't. There's so much to do. So you just go back and say, okay, yep, that's what it is. Payoff pitch kind of the same way. Sometimes it's like, okay, this is this. I remember reading something about this. So sometimes what makes me want to play is I want to go pull out these games, and I want to. Like I say, I want to learn them. I want to get them to a point where I'm comfortable with them, because I take it as a challenge to, it's again, you're not sitting there watching a movie. You're learning something, and it's fun to learn. I love to learn. I do. I love to learn, and I love to learn these games. And for me, one of the things that makes me want to play a game is to try to learn this game.
What about, as we start to wrap this up, what about if you have a game that you play that you're comfortable with, and it's not a rule thing that tripped you up, but what about the last thing you played that night before was some horrible loss, and you get upset about the fact that you blew a 5-goal lead, or the pitcher coughed up the hairball, or whatever, and so you go to work the next day and you're not thinking about what you're supposed to be doing. It's the fact that I should have pulled that pitcher 3 batters before.
Oh yeah, so you want the redeemer? Yeah, so you need to come back.
Exactly.
You need to come back
myself
on the table.
The spouse is going, what the hell? It's not real, Ron. So you don't understand.
Oh, that game of Hockey Bones that I played, it was Boston, Vancouver, and they were up. I want to say it was 4-0 or 5-0. They were cruising in the second period. And then Vancouver came back, and I think it was Vancouver, maybe it was New York, and it was the third or fourth line winger that scored the game-winning goal with a minute to play. And I just was like, how does this happen? It was such a bad loss. And then there was a night that I want to say that I had 20 potential scoring chances, and none of them were in range. So they couldn't be goals. But it was like, okay, here's a chance. Roll the dice, out of range. 20 of those in a row before one had a chance to score.
The Bruins had that in real life the other night in Phoenix.
Yep, they just couldn't put it in.
The icing call, it should have been.
Oh yeah, that was icing. That's a bad call.
But did you see that they'd outshot Phoenix 48-16 or something like that?
Oh yeah, that's typical Bruins. Yep, that's like 90s Bruins. Yeah, and that's what happened in my game, is that I got a lot of shots, but in Hockey Bones, it's a shot is a shot, but if it's not in range, then you can't score. And so I had so many of these chances that were just, none of them were in range. And it's like, by the time I had a chance that was in range, the other team, I think you had 4 or 5 in-range chances, and they scored on all of them. It's like, how come I can't score?
And just the frustration level starts to go.
It was, yeah. So it's like you get that game, you get all mad about it, and then you come back for the Redeemer game. Yeah, so that makes me want to play too, is to come back and get the Redeemer games. They won the next game. It's like, okay, now I can forget about that one. I can't forget about it till I play another one.
That's right. It's like, all day long. I can't tell you, Marty, what happened. What? They weren't on TV last night? No, play on my tabletop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. But you see people do that with Madden and NHL 23 and the PlayStation too. They get all worked up and they get all mad too.
Yeah.
So that it happens everywhere. But that happens on the tabletop. Yeah. So you want to come back and get the Redeemer. So anyway, so we want to know, what makes you want to play? Is it that you want to get that Redeemer from a bad game? Are you learning a new game? Are you being challenged by a game that you're so close to mastering that you want to play it again? Do you need the Calgon Take Me Away bath? Do you need the meatloaf? What makes you want to play these games? We want to know from you, what makes you want to play. So we went through our list there. How many of you agree with us, and how many you have other things that we haven't even thought about yet?
Yeah.
And what makes you want to play a game? The nostalgia, rewriting history, creating your own playoff scenario, all the things that we talked about here, but we want to know from you. Without further ado, let's get to the 3 stars of the week.
Woohoo!
All righty. Our number 3 star, new Patreon, Paul King.
Yay!
Thank you so much, Paul. And again, these are in no particular order. Number 2 star, Jeff Tomlinson.
Woohoo!
Jeff, thank you so much for helping out the show. And the number 1 star this week is Pesky Pole.
Yay!
Thank you so much for jumping in, Pesky Pole, and helping us out. And he's put some fun recaps and comments in the Discord as well. So it's good to see him over there active and jumping in. So anyway, so shall we wrap up episode 163?
Yes.
So you have been listening to the Digital to Dice podcast, episode 163, where we talked about what makes us want to play a game. We want to know your feedback on that. Ways to get a hold of us. digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And pinned at the top is where you can find the link to a whole bunch of baseball pictures for your project. So,
yes.
Anyway, thanks to the people who posted those there. And there's also always some good things being posted over there on Facebook. So anyway, all right, Ron, thanks for joining me again.
As always.
And next week's going to be the Christmas episode, huh?
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, we're going to have to see if we can slip in an episode before Christmas. And then start looking towards the new year. We got a whole bunch of guests lined up already for the new year, so it's kind of exciting that we'll have some people back on, some repeat guests, some new guests, and I'm looking forward to 2023. Can you believe it's 2023?
That's pretty scary, isn't it?
It is. It is. I was just watching a movie from 2012. It's like that's 10 years old.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. There was a picture I saw on Facebook. It was Major League, and it was Tom Berenger and
all right, yeah,
and, what's his name, Charlie Sheen, and then I forget the guy who played the third baseman, and they showed a picture of them in
is that Corbin Burnson?
Maybe, yeah, in 1992 was it, in Major League, and they recreated the pose, and I was just, oh my gosh, it was what, was that 20 years ago or 30 years ago? It's like
30 years ago.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, are we that old? Yes, we are.
It's the old song, I was so much older than I'm younger than that now.
Yeah, right. So anyway, all right, we'll talk to everybody later.
Bye-bye.